Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into the drug situation in Mauritius for 2025. We're working off an analysis you shared, and it paints a pretty complex picture.
It really does. You've got this resurgence of traditional drugs like heroin side by side with a real proliferation of these potent synthetic drugs.
Right, and your sources probably highlight those exact challenges.
Yeah.
So our aim here is to sort of pull out the key insights for you.
Exactly. And central to the whole government response is this new National Agency for Drug Control Act, the NADC Act from 2025.
Okay, the NADC. And the idea is to centralize everything, yeah. Like coordinating efforts on supply, demand, treatment.
And harm reduction, too. That's the plan, anyway. A single body pulling all those threads together.
But despite that effort, the analysis suggests drug use is still a major worry, especially synthetics among younger people.
That's what it indicates, yeah. And the knock-on effects, social, economic, are significant. Public health, families, crime, it touches everything.
It's got a long history there, hasn't it? Back to colonial times with cannabis and opium, then brown sugar heroin hit in the late 70s.
Precisely. And now this dual wave of synthetics plus more heroin, apparently coming via Madagascar now. That context is, well, it's crucial to understanding today.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. Unpack the 2025 drug scene in Mauritius, the laws, the trends, the strategies, the impact.
Okay, let's kick off with the legal side, the NADC. Established in 2025, aiming for that balanced strategy we mentioned, supply, prevention, treatment, harm reduction.
More comprehensive than what they had before, Natressa?
Supposedly, yes. The idea is better synergy. It has specific divisions, policy and research, treatment and rehab.
Right, and treatment works with the Ministry of Health and NGOs.
Correct. Plus divisions for prevention and awareness and coordinating supply reduction with law enforcement, and importantly, enhancing things like needle exchange and opioid agonist therapy.
Interesting. And who oversees NADC?
There's a drug control board. It's got people from various ministries, law enforcement, but also 6 members from civil society.
Oh, okay. So trying to get different viewpoints in there.
That's the goal. They meet monthly. The CEO runs the agency day to day, but doesn't get a vote on the board itself.
And above that board?
You've got the National Drug Control Commission. That's the big picture guidance, chaired by the Prime Minister, includes key ministers.
So they set the national objectives, oversee the master plan, the HIV/AIDS plan?
Yeah, and the National Drug Observatory, the NADC CEO, sits in on those meetings too to keep things aligned.
And are they changing the actual drug laws as well?
Well, there's a commitment to review them, trying to differentiate, treatment for users versus traffickers. We saw those 2022 amendments about medicinal cannabis.
Ah, right.
And the NADC Act itself tweaked the Dangerous Drugs Act further. Now, shifting gears to what's actually being used, heroin, brown sugar. It's made a huge comeback.
Really? How's it getting in?
Still the usual ways, often human couriers swallowing pellets, things like that, or hidden in cargo, sniffing, injecting, smoking.
Yeah.
It's still dominant. It accounted for a huge chunk of treatment admissions in 2022.
Wow. It's sobering. And the synthetics?
Mauritius is reportedly a leader in Eastern Africa for synthetic cannabinoid use. Street names like Black Mamba, Rambo.
I've heard those, yeah. Murder, too, wasn't it?
That's another one, often made with chemicals, maybe from China, mixed with thinner or pesticides, then sprayed on herbs or tobacco.
And smoked. Sounds nasty.
It is. And crucially, it's cheap and accessible. You hear about school kids pooling money to buy it. It's linked to more hospitalizations and this ladrog zombie phenomenon. Maybe animal tranquilizers like xylazine creeping in.
Zombie drug? That's terrifying. The stats back this up.
Yeah, in 2022, something like 80% of drug-related public health admissions involve these new psychoactive substances, often alongside heroin, and synthetics made up nearly 18% of drug offenses.
And good old cannabis is still around, I assume.
Oh, yeah. Still very common, long history. Actually, cannabis offenses were the biggest single category in 2022, over 40%.
So who's most vulnerable? You mentioned young people with synthetics.
Definitely. A 2021 survey estimated maybe 55,000 non-injecting users aged 18-59, but some social workers think the number of young synthetic users could be way higher, like over 60,000.
Peer pressure, a big factor.
Seems to be, yeah. And most consumption, especially for synthetics, isn't injecting. It's smoking, sniffing, snorting.
Okay, so what are the strategies then? On the supply side?
Law enforcement, that's ADSU, the anti-drug unit, and customs, they're getting more resources, better tech, big focus on maritime surveillance, getting help from India, the U.S., France.
Trying to cut it off at sea. Makes sense for an island.
Exactly. There's a new info sharing center with Indian help, a coastal surveillance system from Japan. They're reviewing Coast Guard operations, too. Customs have had some big seizures offshore.
And demand reduction.
That's under the National Drug Control Policy Prevention, Treatment, Harm Reduction, public awareness campaigns, trying to engage families. They're even working with the UNODC on parenting skills programs.
Treatment and Rehab NADC coordinates that.
Yes, coordination and monitoring. The goal is social reintegration. Harm reduction is officially part of NADC's job now, enhancing needle exchange, expanding opioid therapies like methadone.
Is methadone widely available?
It is for opioid dependence, but the analysis notes a need for more diverse options, plus strong psychological support, maybe even traditional or religious counseling. There's a panel to guide people through recovery.
And NGOs play a big role, too.
A very significant role, yeah, especially in harm reduction like needle distribution. NADC also coordinates with the Drug Users Administrative Panel, which can divert people to treatment instead of punishment.
Any tech involved.
They're planning a real-time monitoring system, RTM, to track medications better, and pushing vocational training and employment programs.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways. Mauritius in 2025, it's a tough drug scene. Heroin's back. Synthetics are rampant, especially hitting young people.
Right, and the government's response is ambitious with this NADC framework, trying to tackle it from all angles: supply, demand, treatment, harm reduction.
But the impacts are still huge, right? Public health, families breaking down, crime, maybe even this narco-economy idea where drug money seeps into legitimate business.
That's a real concern. It shows this needs constant work, better intelligence, tackling corruption, more varied treatment, really targeted prevention, and definitely ongoing international cooperation.
So here's a final thought for you to mull over. We've talked about this long history of drug use in Mauritius, going way back. Now you've got this sudden flood of new synthetics layered on top. Beyond the policies and the policing, what deeper, maybe societal shifts might actually be needed to really fundamentally turn the tide there in the long run? Something to think about. Thanks for joining this deep dive.